Hey guys, TommyBryson here. And debt is one of those things that is so easy to get into. You get one credit card here, you get one student loan here, a car loan, and then before you know it, you get a mortgage. And everything seems fine. No one thinks anything's wrong with it because also everyone else is also into debt. No one buys a car new for cash. No one buys a house for cash unless they're like dealing something, right? But in reality, that's not really that normal, okay? And you only feel the difference when you start to get heavy. It's like a chain is around your leg and you're like, oh my gosh, I can barely move. I have all of these payments, and if I lose my job or if I sneeze, okay, and I can't go to work, I'm gonna have a massive problem. It starts to feel like quicksand. It's so easy to get into, but it's so hard to get out of. And the more you struggle, the deeper you actually go. And you have a problem with debt when basically you have to get into debt to try to pay debt. Or whenever you have a bill collector knocking at your door, like it's like your grandma every single week, okay? That's when you know you really have a problem. And that's when you ask, well, should I be grabbing my cash, invest in it? Or for example, should I be putting all of my cash towards paying off debt? Or should I do both? Pay a little debt and also invest a little because my job gives me money. Well, in this video, I'm going to break everything down. However, I do want to tell you exactly what happened to me. This way you know exactly who you don't want to be. A few years ago, I had $13,000 in credit card debt. I also had a $20K student loan debt. And the bank also offered me $25K to buy a new car, also $10,000 for my credit line for my business, and on top of that, they were even going to approve me for a massive mortgage, okay? A lot of things, okay? And it's so easy to say, yes, sign here, sign here. Before you know it, you start to feel like you're drowning, and that's not what I want for you. Today, I have no credit card debt. Today, I set aside $20,000 for my student loan debt to actually pay it off in full when the time actually comes because it's not charging any interest right now. And on top of that, I bought a car for cash. I never bought that home. And on top of that, my credit card for my business is also fully debt-free. I just don't owe any money whatsoever anymore. And that's what I also want for you. And I also have over $250,000 actually also invested into my retirement accounts and also my taxable accounts. And that's exactly what I want for you also. Now, if you want that, well, welcome to the right channel right here. So you need to also subscribe, hit the bell to get notified, and on top of that, also destroy the like button. And welcome to the LTT squad, long-term team, okay? That is what we do here. Now, the first question I want to answer is this, okay? Tommy, people say don't invest until you're debt-free. Now, why is that? I want to answer that question with facts, not with opinions here. Well, the idea is, guys, if you are, for example, in debt and you have credit card debt, on average, that might be 18% to around 35%. If you have, for example, a car loan between 8% to 15% or even 20%. Student loan debt, 4.2% to around 7.5%. If you have a personal loan debt, also a lot of cash. On top of that, if you have a mortgage, around 2 to 4% or 5%, depending on when you actually got your mortgage. But the point is, all these debts cost you money. And when you invest, the goal of investing, honestly, is to make you money. However, if you make 8% of your investments and then you pay the credit card company 18%, the idea is it does not make sense. It costs you too much money on the credit card, and it would be more profitable to go ahead and pay off the credit card debt. And the whole goal is that if you have all these payments leaving your pocket every single month, I think the average car person spends around $8,000 a month on a car. You have parking, maintenance, the car payments, all those things, insurance, it costs a lot of money, man. So the point is, if you're spending all this money, that's all money you could be putting in investments, but for right now, they're costing you more money than you would make on your investments. And that's why it makes sense to pay off your debts first before you start investing. But Tommy, if I do this with my mortgage, I'm going to be here forever. The answer is, well, that's why you always exclude the mortgage. So if you have a mortgage, exclude that. So once you're debt free, everything else except the mortgage, then if you want to, you can invest while you pay extra towards the mortgage. But this way, you build up a large investment while you're also paying the mortgage, because basically the mortgage is lower, but it's also a larger amount. So it makes sense to invest at the same time. But the student loan debt, the personal loan debt, the car loan, the credit cards, all that stuff should be paid off, okay? And some things you shouldn't pay off, you should just consider selling. And I know for a fact, okay, it hurts to sell your car. It hurts to sell your furniture. It hurts to sell your TV. It hurts to sell all these things that just cost you money and basically weigh you down. However, it's a big relief when you no longer have all those payments. So consider not just paying off, but consider also selling. And for the first time in 2021, in a long time, the used car market has appreciated because of lack of supply. So it might be the best time ever to either, for example, sell a car or sell a house. If it doesn't make sense, if it costs you way too much money, if you made a mistake, consider fixing it right there by just selling it. It's not always the best idea to go ahead and pay something off. Yes, it's embarrassing. But if your friends embarrass you by you selling something that hurts you, then this should not be your friends, okay? Keep that in mind. Now, Tommy, I understand that now. However, what is the plan to actually go ahead and pay off debt? The goal for this video is not to tell you, hey, obviously, paying off debt is best. And then you start investing once you're paying off the mortgage at the same time, right? That's obvious. However, I want to give you an actionable steps to actually go ahead and pay off debt the right way. Well, the first thing, and by the way, it's just 4 steps here. The first step is going to be you're going to need a rock solid budget. Meaning, for example, you only take care of necessities, the things you actually need to actually live. And those are just 4 things. You have shelter, you have utilities, you have groceries, and you have transportation. Those are the 4 things right there. Shelter should not be more than 25 to 30% of your monthly income. Utilities, not that much. Gas, internet, and light. That's about it. Then you have also groceries. No more than $200 per person. No eating out, okay? No Pizza Hut, no Uber Eats, no Domino's, none of that stuff. It's just you cooking at home and meal prepping, okay? On top of that, transportation, consider selling the car. I know it hurts, but consider selling it. But if you want to pay it off, consider also, hey, this is going to cost me a lot of money and also a lot of time to own this car. I bought a used car 2014, and guess what? It takes me from point A to B at the same time as you and your newer car. It just makes no difference, okay? And don't believe the hype where they say used cars suck, because in reality, if a used car suck, well, all cars suck. Because at the end of the day, every new car is gonna turn into a used car, right? So makes no sense. It's just marketing, okay? Check out the car though at a dealership, or for example, an AutoZone or auto parts, or for example, a mechanic before you buy it, to make sure everything is solid before you go ahead and buy it, okay? Consider that. Now, on top of that, after step 1, once you have a rock solid budget, what do you do next? The answer, guys, is going to be you need to save up some money for emergency funds, because while you're paying off debt and focusing on paying off all this debt, things can go wrong. Life will not stop happening to you. So set aside around $1,000 for emergency. Now, one thing I noticed is that basically people think, like parents and families say, Tommy, that's not enough money. I need more money. Well, remember, emergency money is supposed to be for things you don't know are gonna happen. That's why it's just $1,000, the short-term one while you pay off your debts. But if you know you have a messed up car, or maybe your AC unit in the house is gonna break pretty soon because you haven't fixed it in a long time, the answer is set aside an extra $1,000 for those things that might also happen. Now, those are called a sinking fund. Sinking funds are for things that are actually going to happen, and you know are gonna happen. Emergencies are for things you don't know what's gonna happen. Lost your job, broke your leg, things like that. The unknowns in life. But the knowns are gonna be sinking funds. Set aside $1,000 for emergencies, $1,000 for a sinking fund if you don't think that $1,000 is actually enough. Okay, that way you have $2K in case anything happens to you. Now, once it comes to paying off your debts, you have actually 2 ways to actually do it. Okay, you have, for example, the avalanche method, the method I use, and you have also, for example, the snowball method, the method Dave Ramsey uses. Now, they're both good. They both work. But one is more for nerds and one is more for people actually getting started, okay? The avalanche method, the one I used, is all about saving you the most money possible. That means, for example, you focus on, for example, paying off the debt with the highest APR first and paying the minimum on all the other debts. So, for example, if I have 5 credit cards and one of them charges me the most money, 20%, the answer is I pay the minimum on all those debts and then pay all the extra money towards the debt with the highest APR. That's going to save me more money mathematically. And I would also automate it. That way I don't got to think about it. When it comes to the snowball method with Dave Ramsey, the goal is you don't look at the interest rate, you look at the balance. And you pay the debt with the lowest balance. That way you build more momentum and you actually set more goals and so on. It works also if you're like brand new, but if you just want to save more money, you know what you're doing, how to get started, I do the avalanche method. That's my personal use. However, number 4, guys, okay, if you have a budget, an emergency fund, and you also know the method you're going to use, avalanche or snowball method, now it's time to say, hey, I'm going to need to have a second job or a side hustle. You know, everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, but we also have the same 168 hours in a week. So if you spend 70 hours on your maintenance things, for example, eating, sleeping, using the bathroom, shaving, driving, all those things right there, the answer is you still have another 98 hours to go ahead and get a 40-hour full-time job, another 40-hour side hustle, and still have 18 hours to watch Game of Thrones throughout the week, okay? That's the idea. But the goal is, most likely, you're going to have to work from that 8-hour shift usually to around 12 to 14-hour days. Now, this means, I know it's hard, I know it's tough, but this way you almost double your income and you're able to get out of debt very quickly. And remember, this is not forever, okay? It is short term. The goal is to pay everything off as fast as possible and never get into those chains ever again. That's the goal. Now, I also want to give you guys some tips here if you care about optimizing everything, okay? Now, if you have a lot of credit card debt, consider getting, for example, a credit card with a balance transfer feature. They're called balance transfers credit cards. And the idea is they allow you to transfer the balance from one credit card to another credit card. Why? Because the new credit card is going to give you around 12 to 18 months of interest free. This way you have 12 to 18 months to pay off that credit card with no interest whatsoever. That's the goal right there. Saves you a ton of money. But you gotta be careful not to go ahead and get in debt with a credit card that doesn't have a balance anymore. So you gotta cancel that credit card once you get the new credit card. That way you don't go back into debt. That's the overall idea. And make it not an option to go into debt when you have a problem. That's why you have an emergency fund and also, for example, a mini sinking fund also. On top of that also, guys, okay, I highly recommend if you have a massively big phone bill, $150, $70, $60, the answer is consider getting, for example, Mint Mobile or, for example, Air Voice Wireless or Ting, Ting, where they have plans for $10 or $15 per month. This way you save a lot of money there also. On top of that, lastly, I want you guys to picture your life without debt. So for example, this right here is my vision board, which I don't have hanged anymore because I don't have the space just yet, but this is my vision board, okay? So your vision board should have 4 things. It should have health, wealth, love, and happiness. In this case, we're talking about wealth. So look at your life, what it's going to be, for example, when you are 100% debt free and what you're actually going to be doing. Make a vision board, get a template online, and that way you're good to go. And by the way, for everyone asking me, Tommy, what balance transfer card should I get? The answer is Google it. Google, for example, best balance transfer credit cards, because right now it might change by the time you actually watch this video. Okay, so go ahead and basically Google it. Best balance transfer credit cards. That should help you out a lot. Guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it helped. That's always my goal here. And I hope you can actually change your life forever and become a part of the long-term team here. Okay, the goal is become debt-free. And then once you're done with that, you focus on investing. And if you want a full video on that, well, comment down below, let me know. See you guys tomorrow. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. And if you want to call me and talk to me one-on-one, join me on my entire 3rd channel called TommyBryson. Here it is right here, where I take calls every single day from Monday to Friday. So go ahead and join me over there, or send me a DM on Instagram at TommyBryson, or join my Patreon link down below. On top of that, if you want to watch more content, here's the video right here. Click my face right here. See you guys tomorrow, and as always, peace.